Welcome to the world of auto detailing and the endless possibility of endless variables. How about that? So as a professional, you will get phone calls, and with modern day technology, I do a lot with pictures. So people call me, they may have looked at my website previously, or they may just have grabbed my phone number on my website, and then I'll either get a text or I will get a phone call. So there's this process as to kind of like a funnel. So you get all these people into the funnel, and you just never know if the job's going to actually materialize or not. In this event, I've got this 2016 white Volkswagen Passat. Now let me show you what it's about. And I've got a little light set up here because the daylight or the lighting is terrible. This is a chip, and we have a scratch. Now hopefully the scratch is revealing itself. Now the reason I even decided to do a video on this is because to highlight the endless nuances of working with the public and detailing. And which is why I've said many times, if you do not like problem solving, detailing may not be the world for you. Also, working with customers is a unique challenge in and of itself, because people's eyes are different. Everyone interprets the world or the moment differently. Case in point, this guy shoots me a text. Okay, that's a starting point. I see clearly that there's a chip on his black side mirror. But because most of the public is pretty ignorant, and that's not me trying to disparage the public, they just are. They just don't know. Often they don't even know what they don't know. So in this particular situation, after the guy got here, I looked at it and realized, hey, this isn't regular car paint. This is actually what's called a wrap, a vinyl wrap. Now they can put graphics on a wrap or print it with graphics, or it can be a solid color. So this is a solid color, as in black. You also notice that the roof is black because, and I asked him if he bought it used, and he did not. He bought it from the dealer. It was on the showroom. So what the dealer did is they actually, to enhance it and to make it more special, they put a wrap on the roof so it's black, but then they wrapped the side mirrors. So this is actually vinyl. It's not car paint, which represents a unique challenge. Now hopefully it shows, but and the guy pulled up and he said, I know it's small, but it's just driving me crazy. I get it. Once again, welcome to the neurotic world. You just never know. It's a case by case. Everyone's got their buttons, their sore spots. I'm just here to follow directions and do what I can based on experience to fix it and try to be a solution provider. So, for example, when he pulled up, he was so fixated on this chip because you could see this from across the street if you were to set it up that way. I said, hey, you've also got a scratch here, which he didn't even notice that, which to me is surprising. But that just confirms that most people have a very untrained eye. So I'm going to see what I can to finesse this scratch, for lack of a better word. Now the problem with vinyl, it's very soft. Unlike clear coat, which is harder than the vinyl. So I'm limited on the ability to use abrasives, polishes, whatever. Doesn't mean I can't use it, it just means I'm more limited. It's more of a challenge. Also on this wrap, when it was gouged, you see you've got like this hangy bit. It's almost like a hangnail. So I've got to remove that, which is pretty straightforward. I just pull it off. Because if I put some touch-up paint on this, which is what I'm going to have to do to cover this up, I don't want any hangy bits. How's that for some highly educated terminology? Hangy bits. So let me see what I can do to finesse this scratch away. I'm just going to try some polish first, and then I'll touch it up with some touch-up paint and see if we have success to the point where Johnny customer is now a more content, happy customer. So once again, every subject has the ability to go in endless tangents. I grabbed one of the endless types of polishes or compounds that I have in my arsenal of equipment. This happens to be Meguiar's Foam Cut Compound 101. It has abrasives in it. So I'm going to finesse it with just a simple microfiber cloth, and oh wait, sidebar, you noticed the new t-shirts, and I had in another video, but this is what was called a sample. I was experimenting with colors. So I try to simplify it, and welcome to the world if you want to do your own shirts, because you have to pick out the colors, you want to simplify it, so you have to use less screens in the screen printing process. So you may pick out a gray, but then it clashes with the gray that you printed on. So this was a sample. Here's the back. It's got my one of my registered, let's say, trademarks. Shine reigns supreme. Oh, and because I get enough of you that are asking, and I'm going to do some videos, you're asking about like, oh, hey Darren, I noticed you're in shape. What type of supplements do you use? If you go below this video, a couple things, there's always going to be links to the products that I recommend. It will take you to my website, and there's a full description, a much more comprehensive tutorial if you really want to learn. But there's also a link that just says Darren Supplements. You can check that out until I actually have time to make a video to address that. But I get enough of you asking, so I thought I got to say something. Anyhow, but thanks for noticing. So here I am. I'm going to finesse this scratch. So I've got this scratch here. I have not, I don't know, maybe I've tried in the past to polish some vinyl graphic or wrap. If I have, I really don't remember. So I'm just going to experiment by hand and see if, you know, I need to grab my readers. One of my tricks, despite my age, I actually have good vision. I did LASIK. But what I want to do is magnify the moment with readers. You can buy cheap readers at the drugstore. I don't remember what magnification these are. I just know that right now you're blurry. But right here, it's like, oh my gosh, I can see every little nuance. So if I can nail it with these, when I take them off under normal viewing, it's going to look that much better. So that's a little trick that I use. So this allows me to magnify the area. And in this moment, what I'm checking for is to see if two things. One, if the scratch is being removed, but secondly, if I'm doing damage to the wrap. And by damage, what I mean is using a polish like this that's too aggressive. So right now, I know that I need to use a finer polish. The scratch is mostly gone. There are some deeper scratches, and I know because vinyl is so soft, to wet sand it would be impossible. You would just destroy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out some finer polish now that that scratch has been removed, shine that up, then I'll apply touch-up paint. Look what I grabbed. Believe it or not, Meguiar's number 50 marine. This is made specifically for the marine industry, which means it's specially formulated for your boat, because you could not possibly use a car polish on a boat or a boat polish on a car, and yet you can. The industry, once again, their goal is to separate you from as much of your money as possible, so that your shelves are lined with 1,000 products instead of like 20. I know through experience that this has what's called chemical cleaners in it. There's no real abrasives to it. So what I want to do, because it was just so accessible on my shelves, I just grabbed it to illustrate, you can commingle stuff. You don't have to have dedicated stuff. Don't go into panic mode thinking, oh my gosh, marine, I can't use it on my car, or it's car wax, I can't use it on my boat. I know many of you know that, but there's many of you, because my audience is so diverse, massively diverse, every one of you will come in at a different skill set, experience level, call it what you want. So I know that this, and I do like this product, by the way, but it's a chemical cleaner. It's not what's called an abrasive cleaner. So I'm just using it on this to shine it up. And this wrap material is already damaged enough, because I know that Johnny customer is not really taking care of it like he should. And because wraps, like any other material in the world, are going to degrade with sunlight exposure, just being exposed to the outdoors, whatever. So I'm just finessing this by hand to quickly blend in the area, shine it up, and now it looks, I would say, dramatically better. It probably won't pick up on the camera, but there's a deeper scratch here. Once again, not much I can do because I am limited by my canvas. I like to use the analogy of a surfer. You can take a pro surfer. I don't care how good he is, but you put him on a little ankle slapper, 3-inch waves, what can he do? He can't do anything. He'd be lucky to get up on his board. So he's limited by the canvas. His canvas in that moment is a wave. The canvas in this moment is a wrap, is a vinyl material. It's very malleable compared to a harder surface like clear coat. So that's the first stage. Now I'm going to use touch-up paint and cover this up because that's originally what my customer wanted done. I just showed, and that's a way, this would be a little sidebar. That's how you can increase the value of you and your services. I pointed out the scratch to him because I knew I could do something with it. I could improve it. He didn't even know it was there. So when he, upon closer inspection, it's like, oh my gosh, there's a scratch, so something really did hit it. Well, yeah, because that's gone. But he didn't even notice that, which once again I find perplexing, but whatever. So that is me building more value into the moment. So instead of just fixing this scratch or this chip, now I fix the scratch and the chip. You get how that works? So that's where you constantly have to be thinking outside the box and thinking, okay, let's pretend I'm Johnny Customer. Let me put myself in his shoes. What would I want if this was my car, if this was my money? So think that way instead of as a detailer of like, oh, how much can I soak this guy for money for? You know, how can I get away with the bare minimum plan? That's a wrong thinking. That'll just get you into trouble. That's short-term thinking. If you're in this for the long game, which is what I call it, you put yourself in the customer's shoes. So that's what I did. Fix a scratch, and I'm going to fix a chip. Once again, we have my Applied Colors Touch-Up Paint Kit. Many of you asked. I paid just under $1,000 for this, I think it was. I had someone recently ask, hey Darren, about that kit, and apparently Dr. Color Chip now has a touch-up kit, and I think he said it's like $2,000 to $3,000, which is kind of crazy. For you to recoup that money, never mind recouping your what's called an ROI, your return on investment. My investment was $1,000. I have made way over $1,000 doing touch-up repairs. But that $1,000, that takes a little while to recoup that original investment. And this is not a video promoting this kit. It's just the one I happen to choose in the moment. Just know that the technique and the kit itself, kind of like running a detailing business, the ability to detail a car to me is about 40 to 50% of the equation. At best, 50 to 60% of the equation, which is a larger number, if you go just 51%, is more about how you deal with the customer, how you manage their expectations. So car paint chip repair is more about managing expectations, something they will not promote in the videos. And what I can promise you is that any chip repair you do will not look as good as the videos show you. It just won't. Pictures just do not reveal the bad stuff. I don't care how close they zoom in, there's so many variables. Like for example, gravity. When you're working on a vertical panel versus a flat panel, the paint will tend to sag. They don't show you that in the video. They don't even talk about it. So you have to learn on the job. I've got my can of Prep-All. This does not come with the kit. This is something I buy at body shops. I'm sorry, at shops or places that service body shops, meaning they sell products and chemicals. So I'm just going to prep this area by removing any grease, waxes, oils before I apply the touch-up paint. And once again, because this is vinyl, it wants to keep pulling up around the edges. So this is where I have to finesse it, and because I have these readers on, I can really magnify the area to the point where you're not even going to be able to see this. And this is what is a problem too, is this could just keep peeling and peeling. And this is where you explain to the customer. In fact, I had a guy write in, he said, "Oh Darren, what do I do? The customer is he's unhappy or whatever." And he told me the situation. I said, "Well, that's because you didn't manage expectations." And he asked, "Well, how do I manage expectations?" I said, "Well, that ship has sailed. You manage expectations before you even touch the car, because you have to explain or educate the customer as to the limitations." Because there's a few things. There's and this is where experience comes in, what is even possible? Meaning, if there was endless money to throw at the problem, what is truly possible? Okay, what's possible is not the same thing as what is appropriate. Appropriate takes in other considerations. Normally I would pour this into a cup, but because it's such a small spot, I'm cutting to the chase. So appropriate takes in other variables like cost. Essentially, it's what's called the cost-benefit analysis. How much would it cost to do the repair if money was not an issue, and the individual's budget and their eye. For example, if he can't even appreciate it, like in this moment, he didn't even know that scratch is there. If he can't appreciate the potential, why even do it? Why would he want to pay for it if he can't even discern it with his own eyes? Welcome to California. We get this time of year what's called Japanese beetles, or commonly called June bugs. So Matthew, how did you actually find me?
I saw some reviews of you on Google.
Okay.
I was looking for auto repair in my vicinity.
Oh, auto repair?
Yeah.
That's what you actually search for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because auto repair is a massive market that typically has to do with the engine and all those types of stuff. So, and I don't know, anyhow, so typically people just say like, oh, auto detailing.
Yeah, yeah.
In this case, most people would be like, oh, paint chip repair.
Paint chip repair, yeah.
But you didn't find me on YouTube.
No, I did not. No.
Okay, I've got a whole YouTube channel, and that's what I'm filming for.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're now famous.
Oh, okay. Great.
So, are you single?
No ring on it yet.
Okay. So all you chicks that dig the British, what do they call that? A bro type of.
Oh, the Cockney lads. The Cockney lads. That's where I'm from.
Cockney.
Cockney lads. Yeah.
Right. Oh, lads.
Oh, the mates. Oh, you
lads.
can say yeah. Lads, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is just like guys. Over in Britain they call them lads.
Yeah. Blokes.
Blokes. Yeah. You know, bloke. Anyhow, so you found me. This is for YouTube. What I try to do is get customers on camera so they can kind of give feedback, because there's a lot of guys that are trying to get into the business, and I try to mentor them through YouTube. So I have this worldwide audience. So once again, you chicks, I don't know if you want to give you any out your contact info, but anyhow. So when you first pulled up, like I explained to him that you sent me a picture.
Yes.
I did not know it was a wrap. I just figured it was black paint.
Yeah.
In closer inspection, I realized it's actually a wrap. It's way softer than traditional car paint, which means that's my canvas, which means I'm limited based on my canvas. I can't use traditional methods that I could on car paint as I could here. And I showed a scratch to you that you didn't even know was there.
I know.
Now it's gone, mostly. Now you're going to actually scrutinize it even closer, because it's just been an area that I've repaired and worked on. So now the focus is like laser focus. So I removed, let's say, 95% of the scratch. Then I addressed the chip. Because it's vinyl, it literally is a thin layer of black material over the paint. So yes, I can use traditional touch-up paint on it, and now it covers it up. So what I usually do with customers, because everyone wants to know, well, what kind of results can I expect, Darren? It's like, I don't know, because every chip literally is unique.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I do is I say, okay, go stand across the street. Can you see that chip? Yeah, I can see it from here. I said, okay, that's a bad thing, right? Absolutely, that's why I'm here, Darren. Okay, so we want to camouflage that so that you can't see it over there. In fact, we want to camouflage it to the point where you have to get closer and closer and closer to even see it. But eventually you will see it. I kind of call it permanent makeup on a woman's face.
Yeah.
Okay. So we appreciate the effort, women. Keep up the good work. Apply the makeup, but it's not permanent. And we know that the closer we get to that woman's face, we're going to be like, whoa, I see what's going on underneath all that cover-up. But from 20 feet away, it's like, damn, she looks perfect. So that's kind of what we're doing here. I'm applying permanent makeup. So from a distance, like, damn, now I can live with that. So let me add a sidebar. Now that it's done and the paint is fully curing, you will play this mental game. Every person is different. And you will play what I call, let's find the chip repair today. So when you're coming from your house, from the market, the gas station, you're gonna look at your car and say, oh, let's see if I can see it from here. No, I can't see it. You'll get closer and closer and closer, and finally, there it is.
Yeah.
And you will play that for the next days, weeks, months. Eventually, or what happens over time is it just dissipates. And you'll lose interest in that silly mind game. And 3 months, let's say, hypothetically, 3 months from now, you'll be like, oh, that's right, I had that chip on that thing. I totally forgot about that. That's what will happen. So that's also what I inform my customers, that there's a psychological thing that is part of this equation.
Okay.
So for you guys, that's the talk track that you can use with your customers and that's part of managing expectations.
Sure. My
customer just drove away. I actually wish that my camera person, but you know, welcome to the world of detailing. You just never know what you're gonna get. And that to me is the good news, because I love variety. I don't want to stagnate in some cubicle being a wage slave. So after we shut the camera off, he went into a further story. He says, hey, honestly, Darren, I reached out to you over a year ago, and you were kind enough to be honest and very candid with me, because I had a single chip, like in this moment, that was driving me crazy. And I told the guy, I said, you know what, time is money. If I got to come out for one chip, it's really not going to make much sense for a couple reasons. A, you're going to crap yourself when I tell you how much. Like, let's just say hypothetically, $150 for a single chip, because I want to be profitable. That is my goal, to do something I want to do or enjoy doing, but be profitable at it. So that's the difference. Is a guy can tell you all day long about these cool jobs he does, but I want to compare numbers and see like how much you actually made on that 50-hour paint correction or coating job. Yes, there's money to be made, but that's where I say the business is so much more about the intangibles of business. So this guy said, I reached out to you a year ago, you're very honest with me, and you said, hey, you know what? The chip just happened. It was on the front end of his car. I said, right now you're in freak out mode. You're spinning out of control because you just got a chip on your brand new car. You want someone to fix it. You just want someone to pull out a magic wand and poof, it's fixed. It's not going to happen for one. Yes, I could do it for two. Three, it's going to cost you $150 just for me to show up and spend 5 minutes repairing that little chip so that I have camouflaged it. It will not be perfect. If you want perfection, you're going to have to go to the body shop. But that could be a $800, $1,000, $1,200 moment. So I said, but as something to put into the equation is this. It's a brand new car. You just got it. You're emotionally charged right now. In the next few days, it will dissipate. You will become less aggravated just by the simple fact of allowing some time to enter into the equation. Also, you will get more chips. So maybe in 6 months, you will have accumulated 5 extra chips. And then it will make more sense to have Darren come out and repair 5 chips for $200 rather than 1 chip for $150. Now in this moment, because I have so many people reaching out, I give people the option of these little repairs to actually show up at my house. And I tell them, I say, hey, you can save yourself $50 if you're willing to drive here, because that means no travel time for me. I've got all my stuff right here. Bam, 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 I'm done. And it's a better ROI for me and a better ROI for him. But what he was saying is that he reached out a year ago and he decided that, hey, you know what? Darren actually became a voice of reason in my world, and it makes sense. And now, a year later, he remembers that. Once again, I'm in it for the long game. So you be honest, you be candid, you tell these customers. Now that requires two things. One, it requires enough experience to actually tell them what the situation is for what it really is, and two, it requires integrity on your part to do that. So you've got to dismiss the short-term gains. What you want, if you're going to sustain yourself, is long-term gains, and that's on both ends, on the customer and yourself. And what I mean by that is, if you're giving your work away and suddenly you find yourself very, very busy, but you're thinking like, damn, I'm working my ass off for my customers and they don't fully appreciate it. Well, they probably do. What they really appreciate is the fact that you're undercharging or undervaluing your services. So if you do that long enough, you will wear yourself out, and that will not be good, because you'll be disgruntled and then you'll start cutting corners. So it's a mind F, because you're in desperation mode when you're first starting out. So trust me, I get it. The struggle is real and it's significant, but just try to think to yourself, am I in it for the long term or the short term? Am I a person of integrity, or am I have a certain moral flexibility, like a moral athlete? Anyhow, I don't want to be that. I want to be integrous, which is why this part of why this guy came back. He found me. It's like, hey, that guy was honest the first time. I'm gonna go back and have him do it. Now he's a happy camper. I've got some money in my pocket. I've got a video for you guys. Hopefully you've learned something. And if you haven't subscribed, why the hell not? So subscribe right now. I'm gonna be putting out more videos. Let's just say this, I'm gonna put out videos more frequently now moving forward than I have in the past few months. Also, there's always going to be links. Right below this video, there's a little line that says show more. If you mouse over that and click it, it will populate and it will show links. That will open up into my website, where there will be comprehensive written information, links to Amazon that you can purchase stuff. So hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to help me out and pay it forward or pay it back, you could actually use those links to make any purchases, and I get a small commission. And that's me being very transparent and candid and honest with you guys, not just with my customers. So I want to be as transparent as possible, because I know with social media and the internet, you can misrepresent all day long, and it's difficult for you guys to verify. It's like, wow, this guy sounds like he knows what he's doing. It's like, but how do I really know he knows what he's doing? So I try to expose as much of my world as possible in the name of transparency. Till next time.